Hear me out. Gangle will be the one to remain in the amazing digital circus, and I'll prove it with Japanese. Peep game and lock in. If you don't know this kawaii amalgamation of emotional duality and timidness, Gangle as a character is just ripe for theorizing. She's the one in the main cast that we know the least about in terms of backstory, and she's primarily kept in the background of the main events of the show. It's almost like she's telling us she's meant to be left behind, which is a crazy thought until you look at the evidence. Let me preface this by saying this video will contain spoilers for the Amazing Digital Circus, so if you haven't seen it yet, hop on over there, give it a watch, and then come back. Good? Cool. We're hopping right into the meat of this one. No pandering here. If you've seen my previous Gangle theories, then you know that I think that Gangle is an NPC that will be highly influential in figuring out how the main cast could escape from the Amazing Digital Circus. What I didn't mention, however, is that I don't think she'll be escaping with them. In reality, this makes sense. How could an NPC, something without a physical form or soul or otherwise, possibly exist outside of the program it was created in? And before y'all come at me for thinking that Gangle is an NPC, I have more proof. Because that, my friends, is where the Japanese comes in. In episode 6, we get a beautiful heart-to-heart between Gangle and Zooble. To summarize, Gangle is worried about what Jax's punishment for her would be after she refused to team up with him for this adventure. Zooble, like the amazing person they are, reiterates, or more so reminds Gangle that she is a human, not his plaything.
I'm hopeful, yes I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it, let it.
Which is an interesting way to put it. And matter of fact, Gangle is constantly needing assurance that she is like the other members of the cast, i.e. human. This is again brought up in that same heart-to-heart, but this time referencing their avatar gimmicks.
These avatar gimmicks, huh? Makes you wonder why no one else got them.
Gangle's gimmick plays a large part in who she is as a character, her masks. Mask in Japanese is hukumen. I specifically want to focus on the first kanji in that word, huku. Huku can be read in two different ways. When in combination with another kanji, it's huku, but in its verb form, it can be read as o, which means to conceal or cover up. So perhaps her masks are a double entendre. They symbolize her fluctuating mood and the fact that she's actively hiding something from the cast, that she's an NPC. Okay, don't click off. I promise this will make sense in the end. Even Gangle herself is concerned about what might happen if she leaves the circus. Editor, roll that clip from episode 7.
Are we still gonna be friends when we're out there?
Why wouldn't we be?
It's just gonna be strange.
Here we see again that Gangle requires validation that her and her feelings are real. No one else is this on the fence about them being human except Gangle. And we even see Kane show a bit of favoritism towards Gangle throughout the show. I often think about that small moment at the beginning of episode 5 where Kane notices that Gangle's happy mask is broken. He fixes it to make her happy and then lets his gaze linger on her for a few extra seconds just to make sure that everything is good. Another example is the entirety of episode 4. That episode was Gangle's episode, no one else's. She was the sole focus for character development, which is something we rarely see for someone who's not one of the main characters. In case you don't believe me, let's run through the episodes, shall we? Episode 1, the viewer's introduction to the show, but Pomni was the main focus. Episode 2, Pomni is again the main focus, but at the end shares with Gummigoo. Episode 3, Zooble and Kinger were the main focuses. Episode 4, it was solely Gangle. Episode 5, Ragatha and Jax were the main focuses. Episode 6, everyone got some development here, but we're primarily focused on Pomni and Jax. And finally, episode 7, which was primarily focused around Jax. So as you can see, Gangle is clearly an outlier here. Episode 4 was littered with indications that things aren't as they seem. Case in point, that entire employee training video. How in the world was Gangle able to simultaneously exist in both that training video and out on the main floor with the rest of the cast? And we know this wasn't a pre-recorded video either. She's actively responding to Jax's reactions, and her pupils even follow him at times. What other explanation do we have for this behavior other than Gangle being an NPC? Her being NPC would also explain why she's so afraid of what would happen if they all left the circus. As I said earlier, how could an NPC exist outside of its program? Short answer, it can't. Which is why, even if the cast finds a way to escape, Gangle must stay in the Amazing Digital Circus. What do you think? Did I manage to convince you that Gangle must remain in the Amazing Digital Circus? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And if you like this video, consider subscribing. My goal is to find the hidden Japanese and all the things that I care about, and I will definitely be back with more crack theories for y'all in the future. Well, that's all I got. Bye!